Londonderry, Derry, Stroke City, call it what you will. This is Ulster's second biggest city, a place where new and old merge together in the northwest of the province and where history is around every corner. But today, the big guns have bigger wheels and there are few grim faces about. We're all heading for St Column's Park to enjoy ourselves.
Well, how do you fancy a lark in the park, they said. That sounds like a good day out to me. Who's playing? And they told me it was Cullen, Nesbitt and Colbert. I thought, well, that sounds like a bit of fun. When does the band start? Is it band? Well, it kicks off at 10:30. But if it's a band you're expecting, I think you're in for a bit of a surprise. This is much more fun. This is the third year of the Lark in the Park, although it's the first year that RPM has come here. And it was originally set up by the Maiden City Motor Club in conjunction with Derry City Council. They've created this wonderful event. It's a chance for the drivers and the rally fans to relax and have a fun day out together. And in some cases, you find people stepping right out of character. Take Belfast Telegraph Motorsport correspondent Sammy Hamill joining Andrew Nesbitt's Subaru team. Sammy, unusual kit for you today.
Yeah, a moment of madness. I agreed when Andrew asked would I sit beside him. I don't know why I'm doing it. Come and talk to me later on and we'll see how we get on.
Well, Andrew, what do you reckon to your co-driver?
I think it's a payback time for Sammy. He's been writing many good articles and bad articles about me over the last 20 years, so payback time has arrived.
And Andrew might also be keen to pay back James Cullen, who ended his hopes of a hat-trick of wins in Donegal International last month. Cullen is again driving one of Kenny McKinstry's Subarus. James, from the pressure of Donegal to the Lark in the Park, are you going to enjoy today?
I hope so. No, it'd be nice if the weather played ball with us, you know. It's just a little bit damp this morning, shall we say, and a little bit overcast, but we'll try and make up for it as best we can.
Well, Donegal was a great rally for you.
It was fantastic. It was brilliant. It's what it's all about. It's why we go rallying, and it's brilliant. This is the other side of the coin. This is a day out for everyone. It's a day for the family. It's a day to have a bit of fun and wine Nesbitt and people like that a little bit, you know.
But there are people wearing many hats here in the park, and while Nesbitt and Cullen might be getting revved up for the big Subaru battle, 18-year-old Kieran Duffin is about to have one of his greatest wishes come true.
Kieran, what a thrill!
Yeah.
How did this come about?
Through Making a Wish Foundation.
And what did you just exactly wish for?
Just to get a rally experience in car.
You're hardly even old enough to drive. Have you driven?
Oh, I have. I have passed the test.
And what about this today? How are you looking forward to it?
Oh, it's very exciting.
What do you think of your driver?
Oh, best man about it.
Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you very much.
And as the clock ticks down to the start time, the crews prepare for battle throughout the city centre park, with last year's winner Nesbitt confident he can repeat his 1998 win. And Derry's Lord Mayor, Alderman Pat Ramsey, sends him on his way.
This Maiden City Motor Club event is made up of 5 short stages using the park lanes, which are more frequently used by cyclists and pedestrians. Indeed, many of the drivers have walked and cycled round, and their verdict is unanimous. It's slippy. Young Kieran counts down his driver to get the action underway, the Sierra racing through the stage at the head of the field to make sure the roads are safely close to the public and everything is ready for the rally to begin. Out in the park, the crowds are anticipating a rare opportunity to see these powerful machines in a strange environment. And Sammy Hamill is anticipating too, but he can't even begin to imagine what the next few hours are going to bring. The first stage goes smoothly enough, the Cuisine de France Subaru gliding through the trees to set fastest time. Andrew's reactions as fast as his driving through these greasy lanes.
Now we go on board Cullen's Subaru for the same stage. He too is about to have trouble with the same corner. It's going to be a theme on this first test. The car weaves around under braking on the slippery road, but James also manages to get it round safely and heads deeper into the park. This isn't Atlantic driver Knockalla in James's native Donegal, but the speeds are surprisingly high nonetheless. Down the narrow straights, the Subarus are reaching 5th or 6th gear, over 100 miles an hour. And then it brakes on for the tight corners and never mind the straw bales as you go. With its turbo anti-lag system working overtime, that Subaru slithers around the grass verges. But watch out for those nasty little metal loops at the roadside. They're not a hazard you find on rail stages, but they can tear a wheel off as easily as any hidden rock.
Down Down on the start line, reigning Northern Ireland champion John McKeown blasts away into the first stage in his Sierra Cosworth and finds out just how treacherous that left-hand corner really is. Breaks for the corner, discovers there's no grip, and off into the greenery he goes. It's slippery in there too, and the seconds ticks away as John fights to get the car pointing in the right direction. Finally he does, but the tarmac's just as bad, and whoops, he's going round again. With another car due any second, the Sierra wedged between the hedges, the red flag goes out to stop the stage. Meanwhile, the Sierra is well and truly stuck, and it takes a lot of heaving and pulling to get it mobile again.
We had to stop the stage and cut him out between the two trees.
The marshals explained to Kenny Colbert why his Metro 6R4 run has been brought to a halt. Kenny is credited with the time of the last car to complete the stage cleanly, the Subaru of Columb, so he's joint second behind Nesbitt. Morris Gass would have settled for that time too. So he also slithers past that now notorious left-hander. But at least he manages to manoeuvre the Toyota back onto the straight and narrow and heads on his way. Eugene Donnelly has been setting the stages on fire this year with his G3 Escort, but it's one thing going quickly, another trying to get the car to stop in the park. Eugene's hopes going up in smoke. But his big Border Championship rival Glenn Allen takes it all in his stride to move into 5th place overall.
Back at the start line, Richard Hogg has heard many of the tales of woe and takes his first tentative strides into the stage. This is his first time out in the ex-Robert Woodside Mitsubishi Lancer, and the last thing he wants to do is send it skating off into the shrubbery, but he negotiates the left-hander safely and heads on to set the fastest group end time. He's 4th overall. Brendan O'Hagan, meanwhile, gets himself caught up on those metal hoops and slips down the leaderboard. And James Gillen is about to join the skaters down at the left-hander. He manages to get his Escort stopped just in time, although time is ticking away and he clocks in 11th place. But his climb back up the field is going to be one of the features of the day.
On the other hand, Wesley Patterson's day is going straight downhill fast. He gets the prize for the longest overshoot, but gets himself in such a spin that he shortly afterwards lost his way in the second stage and was called in for an early bath. John McLaughlin comes safely through to move into 6th place, second in Group N. And the other Nesbitt, Andrew's younger brother Alan, makes it a family double in the top 10. He's 8th. But Derek Job discovers that his Nissan isn't ideal for grass tracking. For some drivers, however, the greasy roads hold no terrors. Here, Francis Morris shows how it should be done in his immaculate rear-wheel drive Escort.
And then it was on to stage 2, similar to the first but almost double the length and including a double loop in the middle. For some drivers that was going to prove an added complication. But while this park Lark can be fast and furious, there's not a lot of walking to be done and the spectators had plenty of time to chat. The weather maybe. It was improving all the time. Some took the opportunity to stretch out in the grass. Some had different ways of keeping cool, but others couldn't wait for the action to restart. The sound in the distance signals the leading Subaru is on its way and Nesbitt keeps it right in the middle of the road and as far away from trouble as possible. But even with the temperature rising, the road is still damp under the trees. And watch how early he brakes for that troublesome corner from the first stage. And even with four-wheel drive, the Subaru struggles for grip as it accelerates away. Nesbitt had regarded the first stage as a sighting run, a chance to see the stage at speed and assess the conditions. Adjustments had been made to the sophisticated differential settings on the car, and now he was moving up a gear. It isn't easy controlling a machine as powerful as this Subaru, which is pulled along by over 300 horses in the tight confines of the park lanes. But Nesbitt's tactics seem to be paying off. He's concentrating on keeping the car going in straight lines, not allowing the tail to slide wide and placing it accurately on the driest parts of the road, away from the grass and away from any potential hazards.
James Cullen also finds the left-hander as slippery as ever. The Subaru's snaking under braking and under acceleration. But from on board, you can see he's adopted the same tactics as Nesbitt. Keep it neat, keep it tidy, and above all, keep it on the straight and narrow. Those trees can do a lot of damage. Even the straw bales can flip it onto its roof. Cullen again has to concede second best to Nesbitt, and at the end of stage 2, he's 2.2 seconds adrift. But there's still all to play for. John McKeown has learned his lesson from the first run, but still finds he's slipping right out of contention. And flirting with those huge tractor tyres is not going to help his cause. Kenny Colbert gets a clear run this time to confirm his third place. The short wheelbase Metro considered an ideal car for this type of rally. But he's got a Mitsubishi on his tail. Richard Hogg is one of the few drivers using pace notes on the day, and he's making good use of the information coming from co-driver Greg Brownlow, close within half a second of Colbert. James Cullen is recovering fast from his minor excursion on the first stage and climbs back to 5th place. Now he's ahead of the ever-spectacular Glenn Allen. And Brendan O'Hagan is also making progress. He's up to equal 6th with Allen and staying well clear of those dangerous steel hoops this time. John McLaughlin needs his braking a fraction too late, and the notorious left-hander almost pays a heavy price, but he's in 8th place now. Morris Gass is also making up ground and is up to 9th. Another McLaughlin, David, completes the top 10 in his Escort Cosworth.
But Alan Nesbitt is in trouble. The throttle cable of his Escort has come loose and he has no acceleration. Others are still finding the going very tough. Adrian Wilson is lucky to get away relatively unscathed. But Sean Callaghan is heading for big trouble. As Leonard Wilson passes by, Callaghan's Peugeot could be seen to be well and truly sidelined. Those metal hoops had claimed another victim. Historic cars were also part of the park entertainment, and leading the way was the smart little Mark I Escort of Norman Kerr. Drexel Gillespie might have been expected to be a front runner in his 1960s Lotus Cortina, but apart from losing his way around the second stage, he was also doing some hedge trimming. Drexel, explain.
Well, you know, there's about 3 or 4 places that I could have picked that up, and I'm not sure which one is, to tell you the truth.
Desi Nutt should have been the clear favourite in the historic class, but the reigning British and tarmac champion wasn't sure whether he was coming or going.
We actually spun at the first available opportunity today. I didn't remember that corner from last year, so but we got it sorted out in the second run.
But they let you do stage 2 and then stage 1?
We did the second stage first and the first stage second. Could only happen in Ireland.
After 3 stages, Nesbitt had extended his lead over Cullen to 5 seconds, and Colbert had edged 3 seconds clear of Group N leader Hogg.
Events like the Lark in the Park are not just about rally cars and special stages. They're all about having a good day out for the whole family, and St Column's Park provided all the fun of the fair. Even Sammy Hamill was enjoying his onboard view of the action.
How's it going?
Absolutely brilliant, Hammer. A bit nervous at the beginning. It was very slippy early on, but it's drying up slightly now, and Andrew's just getting quicker and quicker. Really great fun, great fun.
When you talk about Derry and rallying, one name comes to mind. Back in the 70s, Cathal Curley was king, winner of the Circuit of Ireland, the Donegal International 3 times, and the Manx Rally. That was then, but this is now, and the Curley name is still around.
Well, quite a few years ago, we all thrilled to the spectacular driving of one gentleman in particular. And surprise, surprise, he's turned up today to tell us just how long ago was it, Cathal, that you were driving?
Could I pass on that, Pamela, please? You don't mind? Wee bit embarrassing in front of everyone here just how long ago it was.
Well, now, this is a full family event here today.
Yes. Yes, very, very much so, Pamela. This is my son, Connor. This is my co-driver from Axe a number of years ago, Austin Fraser, and a very good friend also. And this is Austin's son, Nigel, here.
So Connor and Nigel are driving today. Connor, how's it going?
It's going fine. The first couple of loops were very, very slippy, but we had good enough information from everyone about braking distances and stuff, and since then everything's going okay.
Hard act to follow.
You know, very hard act. I don't think I will, Pamela.
Is he tough on you?
No, he's not. He's been very good with encouragement. Just before the last loop, he gave me a couple of tips, and it seems to have worked for. We've moved up another couple of places.
Well, just when Cathal seemed to be on a roll, another of his former co-drivers arrives on the scene. The same Mr. Gillespie we met earlier.
Not my daughter. That's my daughter. Stay away from my daughter. I'm going to keep this way away from you.
Where's your nurse in your wheelchair? Nurse,
With everyone well fed from the numerous barbecues, it was back to the action after lunch for the final 2 stages. Stages which everyone agreed were the most difficult and potentially hazardous.
Leader Nesbitt is first to find out if that assessment is true. He's certainly not hanging back and is intent on consolidating his lead over Cullen. But remember that treacherous corner from the first and second stages? Well, it's back. But in the opposite direction, and downhill this time. And for those who overshoot, there's a little stream waiting. Those red marker boards are a timely warning, but Nesbitt makes it look ridiculously easy. Subaru hardly gets out of line at all as he sets his 4th successive fastest time of the day. Cullen is next, and we see that corner from onboard. It's a pretty intimidating place when you're approaching it at over 60 miles per hour, but again, it's no trouble to James, although the 4-wheel drive Subaru struggles to find grip on the way out. Cullen charges on in his bid to reel in Nesbitt, but he's hampered by a problem with the anti-lag system, and in fact falls further behind. He's still clear in second place, but the gap to the leader has grown to 7 seconds.
Gillen is continuing to pick off places on the leaderboard, and he's up to 4th as he charges down the hill. He's round okay, but touches the accelerator a fraction too hard and drops the tail of the Escort on the edge of the ditch. But he's safely through and away. Kenny Colbert is now the man in Gillen's sights, and by the end of the stage, they've swapped places. Richard Hogg is 5th now, but he's still leading the Group N category. On board the Mitsubishi, we can see how warily he treats this tricky, treacherous corner, which has attracted hundreds of spectators. After all his problems in the morning, John McKeown must have thought his woes were behind him as he tackles the same corner in the opposite direction without a hint of drama. But as Francis Morris bounces his Escort over the sleeping policeman, we find the Northern Ireland champion in more trouble.
We were spending the first stage and I thought we'd overcome that, our problems cured. That stage there, everything was going well and thought we were having a good time at it. Turned the hairpin of the button here, the car just died.
Do you know what's wrong with it?
Master switch is gone.
Something as simple as a 10-pound master switch stops a car like that.
Stops it. It's dead.
But did everyone escape unscathed on the drop down to the river? Of course not. Watch Gary and Mandy Milligan in their Mini.
Well, what happened?
Just very slippy, Pamela, coming down the hill. We'd been warned about it beforehand, but it's just very slippy. Couldn't do anything about it.
And when you saw the inevitable was happening, you just had to go?
That's it.
Any chance of getting it out?
Hopefully it'll get out. I don't think I'll be doing much more of the rally.
Meanwhile, Drexel Gillespie was still trimming the ditches in his Cortina, presumably looking for more foliage to collect. Mervyn Johnson is motoring on to second in his historic class in his Mini Cooper. But Michael Carlin in his immaculate Mark I Escort is the man who wins the class. Elkin Robinson takes 3rd place in Class 3 in Joe Connolly's Porsche. And 2nd place, after all his early dramas, goes to historic champion Desi Nutt. But the historic winners on the day were Norman Kerr and Eddie Devine in their Mark I Escort. Class 3 in the main rally went to Dermot McGeady in his Vauxhall Nova, 34th place overall. Robert Riley won Class 1 in his little Honda Civic. Terry McLaughlin's last-minute piece of over-exuberance may have cost him a class position. And there were no prizes either for Wesley Patterson, whose day ended the way it had begun, slipping and sliding off the road.
But now a countdown of the top 20 finishers. Dermot Macaulay was 20th and picked up 3rd place in Class 4 in his Nova.
Fergal McGuinness made it into 19th place and clearly enjoyed himself.
Raymond McLaughlin was 18th in his Honda Civic.
Thomas Keys in 17th was the winner in Class 4 in his well-driven Escort.
While William Glenn came home 2nd in Class 5 and 16th overall.
3rd place in the main Group N production category went to Selwyn Brown in his Escort Cosworth. He hopped his way over the grass to finish 15th overall.
And there was success for the new Curly-Fraser partnership, Connor and Nigel, snatching Class 5 on the final stage and 14th overall.
13th wasn't so unlucky for Derek Job in the F2 Nissan, despite his earlier grass-tracking efforts.
Francis Morris was cheered all the way to 12th in his Mark II Escort.
But border champion Eugene Donnelly had to settle for 11th after his first stage indiscretion.
There were a lot of McLaughlins in this rally, and this one, John, finished in 10th place and second in Group N, the Subaru Impreza.
Another one, David, was 9th in his Escort Cosworth.
While Brendan O'Hagan made it home in 8th, the three of them separated by just 2 seconds.
Mr. Sideways, Glenn Allen, produced another of his classy, class-winning drives to take 7th place.
And Morris Gas clawed his way back up to make the top 6.
Group N winner and leader of the production class all the way was Richard Hogg, a nice debut in his new Mitsubishi.
Our onboard camera carrier Richard was also the highest finishing member of the promoting Maiden City Club.
Kenny Colbert is a former winner of the Lurgan Park Rally, but this time he had to settle for 4th.
But one of the drives of the day came from James Gillen, who entertained the crowds right from the first stage overshoot. Mind you, he nearly threw it away on the final stage, catching the Cosworth on one of those keep-off-the-grass hoops. A dented door was the only price he paid, but it could easily have been a wheel.
James Cullen and his co-driver for the day, Dominic Sheehan, drove immaculately, but not quite quickly enough. They were second fastest on every stage, but in the end finished 10 seconds behind the winner.
And the winner all the way was Andrew Nesbitt. With time in hand, he was able to lark around and play to the gallery in the final stage. But it was a superb performance from a driver who in the past has had a reputation for being wild and unpredictable. But even with hazards all around him, Andrew proved he can be fast and, well, perfect as well. Maybe it was something to do with the new co-driver.
Credit to the motor club here. Crowds come out in their thousands today, and thanks to Sammy for sitting with me. We had a great time.
You had a good day?
We had a great day. Andrew was absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a bit reluctant to go in the first bit, but having agreed to go, I thoroughly enjoyed the day.
And did you keep him right the whole way around?
Absolutely. He never put a wheel wrong all day, thanks to me.
Such modesty. So another lark in the park ended as all rallies do, with the traditional waste of good champagne. Next year, they plan to do it all again. Remember young Kieran Duffin at the start of the programme, having his wish come true by riding in a rally car? Kieran had an even bigger surprise at the end when Gordon Perry and Gary Quantrill of MTC Communications teamed up with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to present Gary with a brand new quad bike. It was a day he'll never forget.